Don't make any mistakes. I didn't come here to bring peace. I came to bring a sword.
Talking like that will get you killed.
Me killed? Listen to me. This temple will be destroyed in 3 days, torn down to the ground. There won't be one stone left to build with. You think God belongs only to you? He doesn't. God's an immortal spirit who belongs to everybody, to the whole world. You think you're special? God is not an Israelite.
have gone beyond legislation. We think it is time you recognized that you are masters in someone else's home. Despite the best intentions of the best of you, you must, in the nature of things, humiliate us to control us. General Dyer is but an extreme example of the principle. It is time you left.
With respect, Mr. Gandhi, without British administration, this country would be reduced to chaos.
Mr. Kinnock, I beg you to accept that there is no people on earth who would not prefer their own bad government to the good government of an alien power.
Oh, my dear sir, India is British. We're hardly an alien power.
Mr. Gandhi, even if His Majesty could waive all other considerations, he has a duty to the millions of his Muslim subjects who are a minority in this realm. And experience suggests that his troops and his administration are essential in order to secure the peace.
All nations contain religious minorities. Like other countries, ours will have its problems. But they will be ours, not yours.
How do you propose to make them yours? You don't think we're just going to walk out of India?
Yes. In the end, you will walk out. Because 100,000 Englishmen simply cannot control 350 million Indians if those Indians refuse to cooperate. And that is what we intend to achieve. Peaceful, non-violent, non-cooperation, till you yourself see the wisdom of leaving, Your Excellency.
Hi, I'm Brian Oakley with Journey. From the book of Deuteronomy, or the repeating of laws. To the people living slavery in Egypt and heading to the land of their ancestors to invade and occupy it, Moses advised, when you move into the land that God has promised you, and you own it, live in it, you might say, we want a king to rule over us, so we'll be like the nations around us. And you'll set a king in place. But don't let the king acquire many horses for himself. And the king mustn't take numerous wives for himself, or else he'll lose his way. And he mustn't hoard silver and gold. He must remember that he is no more important than the rest of you. 400 years later, the people come to the prophet Samuel and demanded that he choose a king for them because they want to be like the powerful nations around them. Samuel prayed to God about this, and God said, the people have turned from me. I wanted to be their king, but they serve other gods. Samuel warned the people, this is how the king will rule over you. He'll take your sons and make them drive his war wagons and serve in his infantries. He will draft men to plow his ground, gather his grain. He will take your daughters and make them serve his food and bake his bread. He'll take the best of your crops and vines and olives and cattle and flocks, and he will take 1/10 of your male and female servants. You all work for him. And you will be miserable.
So all this talk about the other, like, who is the other?
It's easier, it's complicated. The other is anybody I want, anybody who I would draw outside of my circle. So what circles do I draw? So if I draw circles of nationalism, whoever's outside the circle is other. If I draw circles of education, then whoever's outside the circle is other. If I draw circles of church, then whoever's outside of church is other. So that we all tend to draw circles. We define ourselves and we say, okay, I am a part of. And all groups define the boundaries of the group and say, okay, you are part of the group if you are this, that, or the other, whatever the group may look like. And so anybody who's not in the group is other. And so it's everything from, I want to build a bigger fence in the south, on the U.S.-Mexican border, which always reminds me as a historian that any empire that builds a fence is already lost. That's usually a sign that be it the Great Wall, be it the Berlin Wall, be it the Tortilla Wall, usually an empire that builds a fence is admitting that they already lost. I mean, they're not going to say that, but that's usually a sign that they weren't able to do what they thought they were doing. So, part of the call of the gospel is that I'm inviting other people to become part of the people of God. In other words, part of the call of the gospel and the mandate of the gospel is invite those who are different, those who are not a part, to become a part. And if I start taking that seriously, I'm actually saying I should be inviting that person of whom I don't understand, I don't trust, I'm not sure about. I should be inviting them into the gospel. I should be inviting them into the narrative of the gospel. I should be inviting them into a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so if I take that mandate seriously, then I'm saying now that person has become my sister, my brother in Jesus Christ. And if I take that seriously, then we are saying we are one people, one family, one body of Jesus Christ. And so all of a sudden, all of our other social categories gets wonked.
Baptist! I have orders to bring you to King Herod.
I have orders to bring you to God, heathen.
Will you come with us peacefully?
I won't come with you at all.
I've heard many things about you, Baptist.
And I've heard many things about you, Herod. All bad. Repent!
Bring him out. Do you know to whom you are talking? I am your king.
I have no king, but the Lord God.
Where does he reign?
Over all that has been, and all that will be.
How may I meet him?
By standing in the next line you come to, this side of hell.
Over the last, since 2015, I think, actually 2014, with a student protest that have happened in South Africa. Most of them, it was started off by a campaign called Rhodes Must Fall, which was a statue of the head of Cecil John Rhodes, a bust basically, that was like huge, probably 10 times his life-size head. And it was at UCT, the University of Cape Town, and students just became more and more sort of not just restless but aggressive about having the statue here. And the language they used was, why must we come to university day after day with this celebration of this colonial power that dispossessed us of so much? And they just said it's like taking a photograph and framing a photo of your rapist in your home every day. And so, you know, this hashtag Rhodes Must Fall started, and as a result of a series of protests from students, because the university wouldn't listen to them, they eventually had the statue removed. I know that there's sort of parallels to some of those things happening in Virginia, for example, and other parts of the US. And the broader frame of this was students were asking for free decolonized education. Their complaint was that 90% of the literature that they are required to read as prescribed readings are written by Europeans, and so year after year there's this purchasing of European material and ideas, importing it into South African culture, and is largely irrelevant to the day-to-day issues that people are facing every day. And so this Rhodes Must Fall led to Fees Must Fall, which was then we want free education, free tertiary education as per our constitution, that ensures free education, but it doesn't say what kind. And the government has conveniently sort of framed that within a free primary school education. And our universities have, you know, less than 20% of the students at universities around the country are black, and yet they make up 80% of the population. And so part of the Fees Must Fall movement happened, and this narrative around decolonizing education continued. And then there was a lot of talk about what it means for us in the church to engage in this conversation and engage in the debate. And then a broader question from church leaders about how we support students and how we, you know, support those who are in the protests and those who are opposed to the protests. And then I think one of the things that we started noticing was students started not attending church for various reasons. One is that their church leaders didn't have a framework or a narrative to help engage with them or support them or even speak to them about what was happening on campus every single day. So they'd face police brutality, riot police, you know, while they were at university Monday to Friday, and then on Sunday they would come to church where they'd sing worship songs to Jesus, who is with me and holy and blesses me. But there was no place to bring what they'd carried the whole week into this place of worship. It was like this part of them, this protesting self, was not welcome in the space. And some of them just refused to go to church eventually and started saying we must decolonize church. And others started rejecting Jesus, saying that Jesus is colonized and Jesus wants to colonize us. And I guess in the work that I've been doing with the Way House, then we started reframing that narrative and saying actually religion has colonized Jesus. But Jesus came to decolonize the Roman Empire because of who Jesus is, where Jesus was born, how Jesus lived, who Jesus hung out with.
Hi everyone. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Mike. I'm a journeyer from way back in the beginning and have been gone from Austin almost 3 years and coming to you from Pearland, Texas. And I've been asked to read some words from the Jewish prophet Amos, speaking to the power structures of his time or our time. Listen, people of God. Beautiful Israel is fallen. She's been left, deserted. Don't look to the powers around you for help. They mean nothing. They will be reduced to ashes. And those who turn justice into bitterness and throw what is right and good into the dirt, those who hate anyone who tells the truth, you levy ridiculous taxes on the least powerful people. You have built mansions of marble, but you won't live in them for long. You have lush vineyards and estates, but you won't enjoy the banquets. I see how you oppress the innocent. I know how you take bribes and steal from the poor. If you would only try to build what is good, you could live. Turn away from what is wrong. Your courts are corrupt. I don't know if God will have any mercy on you at all. I doubt it. God is sick of your religious festivals. God says they stink. Your prayers smell like garbage. You are so upside down. Such fools.
What is empire? And why is it the bad guy in so much of what I understand about how Jesus and the saints and the prophets were talking? When I say the bad guy, I mean the bad guy, the enemy. If a child came to you and said, I keep playing with this particular plant and it keeps making me throw up and break out in hives and my fingers are falling off, you'd never let them play with that plant. You'd never let them be near that plant. That plant would definitely be the bad guy, the enemy of your child's health and well-being. We try and help people stay away from things that are going to be bad for them, that are going to hurt them. Whether it's a no jaywalking sign, or it's stay away from this particular belief system, or stay away from this particular kind of food or whatever else. For Jesus and the saints and John the Baptist and all of the wise, deeply spiritual people in all of human history, the thing that they warn us about in one way or another more than anything else is our addiction to empire. And when I say empire, I don't just mean the big Roman Empire that's the bad guy. I mean everything that is connected to our need to be safe, our need to know the answer, our need to make everything make sense, and our need to control everything. We create gigantic systems to keep ourselves comfortable and safe. And, I'm just leaning on my truck here with a beautiful cowboy shirt and a vest on. It's cold still here in the mornings in Santa Fe in May. I am the very happy, hi Heidi, I am the very happy and grateful beneficiary of many of the beneficiary of the benefits. I'm good because I happen to be a white male, well-educated, relatively functional in an empire that rewards mostly white males who are relatively functional. But then a whole bunch of other people get to benefit from this empire too. And we like it. We like all that stuff, don't we? We like the good food and the security and the big army and the infrastructure and the big buildings and central heat and air and all that stuff that is what makes us comfortable and what makes us feel better are all goodies that are offered by the empire to keep everybody behaving themselves. Okay? That sounds strange to say it like that, doesn't it? What's wrong with empire? If empire is the thing that gets you the good insurance and the good pizza and good roads and good capitalism and all that stuff, what's wrong with it? Well, here's what's wrong with it. Jesus said it will kill you. It's terrible for you. And he was living in a time before all that stuff. He was living in a time when they didn't have any of that stuff that I just talked about. But he still had empire. He was living in one of the greatest empires in the history of the world, right? Rome. And Rome was rich, and Rome was powerful, and Rome kept order. So if you were a Roman citizen, there was a lot about it that you really were grateful for. You know, we Christians have this story about how cruel Rome is because of their practice of crucifixion. I think that's over-romanticizing the crucifixion. I think that Rome is probably just a really efficient, well-run organization. And one of the ways that you keep people in line in that particular way of thinking is, if people just will not behave themselves, you make a public spectacle of and a demonstration of your power so that you can make sure everybody knows. Please don't lead any more revolutions. Please don't refuse to pay your taxes. Please don't not participate in the empire. This is what will happen to you. That's all Jesus' death is. He's an insurrectionist. He preaches against Rome and he preaches against the Jewish structures and power brokers who cooperate with Rome. Why do they do that? Are they bad guys? They're just trying to keep Israel alive. They're trying to keep Judaism as it is emerging in that part of the world and in that part of history functional. They're trying to keep themselves from being wiped out by the empire. It's not that long after the time of Jesus that the Romans do come and dismantle Jerusalem and the temple and scatter the Jewish people. The people working with the Romans weren't wrong. They're smart. Jesus doesn't like it. And he calls them out, as you saw earlier when he says God is not an Israelite. You think you're special? Well, yeah, we kind of do think we're special because look at all these nice things we have. Look at this nice truck we have. Look at this nice Wrangler cowboy shirt I have. Look at this nice dental care that I have. Look at this nice interstate highway. You know, do you get it? What does it have to do with being Christians? What does that have to... Hey, Heidi, come here. Come on. Thanks. She just was thinking about whether she was going to chase some animal over there. What does it have to do with following Jesus? Jesus is the one who says it has something to do with following him. He keeps warning people and warning people and warning people. You are anxious and afraid because you don't have everything under control, and you think that your obsession with wealth and status and where you sit at the table and whether you have enough grain in your barns and whether you have enough self-reliance? No. Whether you have enough control over yourself and everybody else. That's what is making you sick, because that's what you think life is about, and that's what you think will make you happy. You have to let go of all of that. You have to give up. You have to quit clinging to your life. Do you understand this system that says we are powerful and we are important because we're God's favorites and we are the insiders and there have to be outsiders? We build walls so that we will know who is good and who's bad. We will know who gets to be a beneficiary of this system and who has to be punished or who has to be excluded. We will know who the sinners are and who the righteous are. We will know who the legal and the illegal people are. We will know who is welcome and who is rejected. What happens over time, you see, and it always happens, and all of the great spiritual masters say this and know this, is that in order to make ourselves feel safe, we build more structures and more things. And Jesus, who is poor, takes on the powers that be and goes to their big structures and says, I'm going to tear all this down. And they kill him. And his people, for a few hundred years, practice something called the path, or the way. And the way is simple. It is about rejecting empire. They do not send their young men to go and serve in the Roman army. They do not participate in lots of cultural practices that the empire and the culture thinks are wonderful. And people think they are strange. And then over time, it catches on, and it catches on not ironically with the Roman army, the soldiers who think the story about this guy who takes on the empire and is destroyed, he's super strong and fights against the dark powers and then comes back to life. They like that story. And so they start telling it everywhere, and Christianity spreads, or what becomes Christianity. And then the Roman emperor becomes a Christian, and then Rome becomes Christian, and then Rome becomes empire. Rome becomes Christian, and Christianity becomes Roman, and then it's empire. And I don't think we have any idea how bad a thing that was for Jesus' message. I realize that that's what spread it throughout the world, especially the Western world, but I'm not sure that was a good thing either. Yeah, but don't you think it's good that that many more people became Christians? I'm not sure that being a Christian has anything to do with following the path that Jesus was talking about. In fact, I think they're kind of antithetical to one another, and I think the empire is the problem. Why do you think we feel crazy when we read the words of the Sermon on the Mount, or we hear the things that Jesus is saying, and then what do? We spend all this time genuinely, honestly trying to figure out how to live this. Like, what does it mean to do this? And we feel a little crazy. Heidi, come here. She was going to go chase something again. I remember years and years and years and years and years ago, I was in a Sunday school class of young adults, and we were looking at the Sermon on the Mount and the weird things that Jesus says in it that are all upside down and anti-empire, anti-safety, anti-assurity, anti-control, anti-the good get blessed and the bad get punished. Jesus turns those over and over all the time, which is spiritually beautiful and illogical and stupid. Yeah, I said it. I said the Sermon on the Mount is stupid from conventional wisdom standards. It doesn't make any sense. It's silly. And there was a guy in the class that said, look, I get that this is really pretty and nice, but I'm a businessman. I can't live like this. I can't live the Beatitudes. This is stupid. This is ridiculous. I don't get it. And you know what? He's right. One of the things that Journey has struggled with in a very good way for all of its 17 years next week is the same thing that Israel said to God, which is, we need to be like the other nations. Give us a king. Everybody else has a system where they feel more safe. We've got all these other countries beating the hell out of us. They're all around us. They've got kings and armies and gigantic systems that make everything make sense. We need one of those. So you need to get Prophet Samuel, you need to get us a king. To which God says, well, I want to be their king, and they're not listening to me because they don't trust me. They keep worshiping other gods. And by the way, next week we're going to do Empire Part 2, Baal. Not Baal like I hate Baal. Baal like the god. When the people come to Samuel and say, give us a king, Samuel says, okay, well, if you want conventional wisdom and you want an empire and you want a kingdom and you want power, this is what it's going to look like. The rich will get rich. The rich will get richer. The rich will get even more richer. They will take your land. They will take your children. They will draft your sons into the army and to be their servants. They will take your daughters and make them cook your food, cook their food. They will take your property. They will tax you. They will make everything all right. And you'll never even see it coming until it's too late. It'll be like the frog in the kettle that gets boiled slowly, slowly, slowly. And, yeah, that's what empire does. It gives us this sense of security that Jesus says is the enemy. but we keep signing up for it. Please give us an empire. Please give us something so that we can feel safe. And that's what Journey has struggled with in a good way. What does it mean to not buy into the values that say you have to have more, you have to be safe, you have to have it all figured out, you have to have a way to have a plan? I can't tell you how many times over the years people have said, we need a plan. We need a strategic growth plan. We need to have a demographics plan. We need to have a financial plan. We need to have this all figured out. And then at the same time, we would all also say, Jesus says not to do those things. And the Spirit doesn't work like that. And God is mysterious and doesn't go according to a plan. Yes, but the church is a business. Nope. Nope. Church is a business. Religion is a business. Christianity is a business. The church, the thing God is doing, the kingdom or kingdom of God, the thing Jesus is talking about is not a business. It's not about paying bills. It is not about making everything make sense. It is not about a plan. It is not about being safe. It is about being risky. It is about opening and tearing down walls and windows and walls and doors, and opening doors, opening windows, opening walls, opening what you think is going to keep you safe and tearing it down, and being vulnerable and being willing to risk, and being willing to fail. I tell my seminary students all the time, just please go fail. Please fail miserably. Please be a disaster. That's how you're going to learn, and that's how you're going to make sense. That's how you're going to make room for God to move and do things that are not going to make any sense. Yes, but the way the church measures things is through numbers and through success. I know. That's the empire. That's how the empire thinks. It's the system of the world. The systems of this whole world. And they're so backwards and upside down. And Jesus says they'll kill you, and they'll kill me. And they did. And they do. And they make us feel crazy. Think about us in our little houses, and the people across the street are in their little houses, or in their little apartments, or in their big houses, or their big mansions, or their big estates. And what do we do to figure out how to be happy? We buy more stuff we don't need, and we decide who we like and don't like, and who belongs and who doesn't belong, and who believes what we like and who doesn't believe what we like, and we chase our own tails. And it's hard for us just to sit and be still and listen, because we're scared. We're scared something that we don't understand or something we can't control might happen. Guess what? Things will happen. Things you did not plan will happen, and things you do not like will happen. That is just life. That's real. So all of our efforts to build gigantic kingdoms and structures and cathedrals and steeples and walls and fences and banks and schools and roads and everything else to keep ourselves safe and happy and in control, that's what's making us sick. That's what Jesus says we are doing when we try and preserve our life. If you hold on to your life, if you try and control everything, if you try and keep yourself safe, you will lose it. You will be empty inside. You will walk around like a zombie wondering, what the hell is wrong with me? Why do I feel so sad? Why do I feel so disconnected? Why do I feel so angry? Why am I so empty? Why am I so tired? And then if we're quiet, and we get past our fear, this is what God is like. Jesus is a poor man, and he's outside the power structures that will keep him safe. And that's part of why he can see them so clearly. And And I believe the church, the thing God is doing, the kingdom of God, the mess God is making, has to be outside. Even if it's inside, it still has to be outside, so that it can see it clearly and call it for what it is. It's sick. It makes us sick. Jesus said you can go be in the world, but you can't be made of what the world is made of. You can go out be as wise and shrewd as a serpent and know how the world works, but you still have to be as open-hearted and innocent as a dove. He also said, I am sending you to his students, followers. I'm sending you out into the world. You are like sheep among wolves. This big system and all the things it's going to tell you and all the things it's going to do to make everything make sense and keep order is going to try and kill you. Just keep following me. A very wise seminary professor told me about 25 years ago, look, you're only going to get a few opportunities to be crucified in your ministry career. Pick them wisely. You're going to have to go up against the things that the empire says are important, like numbers and control and power structures and status and performance. And at some point, those things, if you follow your calling truly in your heart, will try and kill you, just like they killed all the prophets before you. Brothers and sisters and others, fellow journeyers, do not be dismayed or confused or surprised when you are following Jesus and you feel like something's off between you and the world around you. Or you are following Jesus in your heart and you think, I don't know how I feel about this extra stuff, this other stuff, this busyness, these possessions, this all and on and on and on and on. You're not crazy. Following Jesus says you don't need all that control and you don't need all that power and you don't need everything to work out. It's not good for you. Yes, but I want a king so I can feel powerful. Yes, but I need to be God's favorite. Yes, but I need to be at the top of the pyramid so that I will feel safe. No, you don't. Be unsafe. Be willing to risk. Be willing to say no. That's where the beauty is. Do you not understand that? I don't understand it half the time. More than 80, 94, 7 point whatever percent of the time. I still want to be safe. And I still want to be happy and full and have everything work out. Because that's what I was told happiness was. It's not. It's not about that at all. It's about discovering who you were fully created to be and then going after that and being dangerous and risky and being just out in the mystery that you can't control. Happy Mother's Day.
Lord, please help me to live a life that is willing to give. Lord, please help me to be a man found and free, though still a fugitive. Lord, put love in my heart and stop short of ripping apart all that we know to be. That I love you and you love me, Lord, make it triangle hard. yours is one, and bind an unbreakable vow that's breathtakeable, Lord, in the name of your Son. Lord, let us live without fear, the life may not always be clear, and when we're approaching death, may we with dying breath shout, for the kingdom is here.